Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: what video game should get a sequel, but likely never will? The Saboteur. Open-world GTA-style game set in Nazi-occupied Paris where you play as an Irish race car driver /ex-CIA soldier who goes around blowing up Nazi watchtowers and pro-Nazi radio towers. Oh, and your base of operations is in a secret room in the back of a titty bar, and there was a $2 DLC that made half the dancers topless. This would be my pick as well. So fun. And some of the crazy shit that would happen and blowing shit up, or the RE just fucking up like a Nazi plowing his own transport truck right over an SS officer. Such fun. And the whole black and white to color was amazing. I remember a mission that ended up in a firefight on an upper deck of the Eiffel Tower and getting shot and almost dying, so I just leaped off and jumped into one of the pools beneath it. Then I climbed out, shot a few Nazis and stole a tank. There's so many stories like that with this game. Knights of the Old Republic 2. Republic Commando. Edit, guys, my inbox. Stuff. I will never not say Republic Commando when this question is asked. The game was so ahead of its time. It had Rainbow Six style control for your teammates, and even the damn visors digitally wiped away droplets of rain. It was so cool, and there was so many small details like that just made it such a fantastically immersive experience. The Wookiee level was legitimately terrifying. I really want Skate 4. SK4 Tear. I mean, that alone should be reason enough. After the first one, they could have just SKA2E, A. Scat 3. SK4 Tear. 5 Kate. Portal 3. That has a better chance of coming out than most the games here. Valve can't count to 3. Spore. I want the Spore we were promised but didn't get, and I want it served over EA's smoking carcass. That 2006 footage is still one of a kind. What a travesty. Oh yes, would love to play a good sequel to Spore. A sequel that's more in the spirit of the original preview. If you haven't seen it, look it up on YouTube. The game is awesome on its own, but terrible compared to the preview. Did Sleeping Dogs ever get a sequel? If not Sleeping Dogs. Fantastic game. Edit, thanks very much for the awards, fellow Redditors. It really does make me so happy to see what I thought was an under-the-radar game getting so much love. Have an awesome weekend, everyone. You look like you could use a pork bun. A man who never eats a pork bun is never a whole man. Hey, it's Way, I need a car. A car. Take la. I'll be there right away. Loved that game. I probably enjoyed too much dressing as SWAT with my police cruiser, and watching cutscenes where I was definitely not an undercover cop. I'm not a cop, Way she said while wearing his SWAT uniform. Crimson Skies. Alternate Earth 1930s steampunk with sky pirates, giant Nazi mechs and dope flying. Update for a new console, give it a little more open world gameplay and some ground missions and bam. That's a winner. I always look for this on these types of question. You may know this, but there are two versions / installments of Crimson Skies, one for PC and one for Xbox. Also there's a board game and Sky Captain and the World of Tomorrow, so basically a movie as well. The open world of the Xbox version, which was canonically the sequel, I believe, was great, and there were some gameplay elements like the turrets and some of the multiplayer modes that were pretty cool. The PC version though, it had crazy customized RTO of planes and a great soundtrack and all sorts of crazy depth. You could play in first person with fully modeled cockpits. Completely changes the feel of the game. I found out about it a few years ago when I managed to get it to run on Windows 10. The graphics are kind of bad, oddly enough the cockpits are higher quality even though they are a non-default option, and the world is confined to missions, but I'd say this is the better version overall. If the two games were combined right and the story / voice acting was the same slightly over the top, it'd be a killer game. Hell, for additional multiplayer, throw 100 planes in the air and make it a battle royale. But it'd have to have a story mode. It had just the right balance of arcade to realism and surprisingly deep lore. Stick to that and I'm happy. The PC was my first introduction, but I lost that years ago and have never been able to find another version. I still have my original Xbox and keep it pretty much for Crimson Skies and Halo, CE. James Bond games. Like what the fuck happened? GoldenEye was top-tier entertainment at the time. You'd think that a FPS game based on being James fucking Bond would still dominate. None of the James Bond games after GoldenEye even came close to that level of popularity. It's not all that surprising when you think about it. GoldenEye was like lightning in a bottle. Rare set out to make a game, and somehow it just came together and worked. Edit: to clarify here, I'm not saying that GoldenEye is objectively the best James Bond game. But it is objectively the most renowned and popular. Edit 2, apparently we're forgetting what objective means. Edit 3, okay guys, goddamn, I'll help you out. Avatar is the highest grossing movie of all time. Objective fact: Avatar is the greatest movie of all time. Not an objective fact. Are we good here? Edit 4, God is dead and you all killed him. Timer Splitters. That series was amazing and the multiplayer was ahead of its time, particularly the map editor. I'd love to see what a modern-day version would look like. Freedom Fighters. Damn, I loved that game. Addendum: holy shit, way more people liked this game than I ever knew. To my fellow freedom fighters, I salute you. 07. Came here for this. Going from one map to another, taking out the secondary objectives to make another map easier was such a good way to make a game more tactical. And sneaking around, climbing up pipes, taking out isolated enemies really make me feel like I was in an insurgency. I probably replayed the campaign like 15 times. Bully. If I could get a sequel to anything, it's this. It blows my mind how no one else since has tapped into a sandbox-style campus game. Closest thing you can get to this kind of experience is Persona, weirdly enough. Even then the two games are night and day. Can you imagine a Harry Potter game based on this premise? I recently played it again. Gameplay still holds up great. I love that game, imagine having that with the current sandbox capabilities we have. Alien Isolation, without a doubt. I'm on my third playthrough since release and it keeps impressing me how tight the game is, gameplay, graphics, RE, and goddamn is the atmosphere amazing. PlayMG it in VR is a recipe for nightmares. Unfortunately, it just broke even for Sega, so no chance for a sequel at this point, which Sega has stated outright, if I recall. Edit: I want a proper console/PC sequel, not a paltry mobile pseudo-sequel. I would absolutely kill for Alien Isolation but set in Jurassic Park with dinosaurs. So like Dino Crisis. But without being trapped in space. Legend of Dragoon. This game made me bawl my eyes out. The story was amazing and I loved the characters so much. The combat had a fun, really unique mechanic for the time. And Lavitz. Damn it, Lavitz. Why? King Albert had big shoes to fill. I am 31 and this game still stands as my all-time favorite. The story, the characters, the culture. My first true delve into unhealthy escapism. And that soundtrack. Amazing. With BanjoKazooie being in Smash, I'm hoping that a true Banjo 3 will come soon, but I don't think it will happen. Edited a word. On a similar note, BanjoTooie is the best sequel name ever. I just now got that it's Toei. Kirby A Ride. I haven't seen anyone else say this yet. But man, let's get Kirby A Ride 2 on the Switch with an upgraded city trial. The Golden Sun series. The Golden Sun saga is one of the best RPGs ever made in my opinion. The first two games pushed the GBA to its limits and were absolutely fantastic. They made number 3 after 7 years of silence and the game was made to be more simple and the story was as impactful as the original two, but it was still a real good and addicting game. It ended on a cliffhanger and we have been sitting here for around 9 years with nothing. Edit: wow, I would have never expected this to blow up. Be sure to check out our /GolDisoo if you are interested. The community is still active. Glad to see so many others who also love this amazing saga. And thanks for the Redditors who took my gold and silver virginity. Lol. I played the first 2 Golden Sun games as a kid and they were my absolute favorite. I played Dark Dawn on the DS a few years later and it just didn't give me the same joy as the original games did. Even if they only made a remake instead of a sequel, I would still be okay with that. They didn't translate the art style very well indeed, the story was too rushed, having a hard lockout was a USAce for collecting GI, and the puzzles and combat were all far too easy. Despite all of that, I'd still kill for another GS game. Hell, if you're listening Camelot, I'll settle for a new shining force. Jet Set Radio Future. It came out in 2002 for the original Xbox and was a masterpiece. The soundtrack was unreal too. At the very least it deserves a remastered version. The original Jet Set Radio was out for Dreamcast in 2000. I played a demo at Kilobar Toys, throwback game store, and thought it was a dope concept. Especially cause I was into skating as a kid. Then I got Future for the Xbox and played the shit out of that game.